Here we are again with multiplying and dividing fractions, and now we're going to just do a review in order to be able to prepare for our test coming up. So here you're not going to really take notes, you're just going to be doing the independent practices on separate sheets of paper to bring into class. So everything that I go over, make sure you just follow along and just listen to the video and then complete the independent practice at the very end. So I'm just going to model things for you, so follow along and listen. Here we go. Starting off with multiplying fractions. When we multiply a fraction by a fraction, here's where we just multiply straight across. So we do 6 and 3 times 2, the numerator times the numerator, and we get 6. And then we do the denominator times the denominator, and we get 35. So 3/5 times 2/7 is 6/35. So that's pretty straightforward, multiplying fraction by fraction. Now for multiplying a whole by a fraction, now we have to take our whole and turn it into a fraction. So the first step you would do is you place your whole number over 1 in order to represent the whole number still, because 5 over 1 is still 5 wholes. So now we're just representing it as an improper fraction. So 5 over 1 times 3/4. And then you do, once again, the exact same thing I just did on the last slide, which was just multiply straight across, which 5 times 3 is 15, and 1 times 4 is 4. Now 15/4 can be simplified. So if you wanted to simplify 15/4, you would need to do the division, which all fractions are a division problem. So 4 goes into 15 3 times, so that's 3 wholes, and there's a leftover of 3. And the denominator stays the same, so it's 3 and 3/4 is my mixed number that 15/4 represents. Okay? So that's multiplying a whole by a fraction. Anytime you have to multiply a whole by a fraction, you put the whole over 1 and multiply straight across. Now, multiplying a mixed by a fraction, that's a little different. We need to recall our mixed to improper steps, so we need to follow the check mark. So 4 and 5/7 would have to follow the check mark of 4 first times the denominator, which is 4 times 7, and we get 28. And then we add the 5 numerator. So 28 plus 5 makes 33. So 33/7 is our improper fraction for 4 and 5/7. And now we rewrite our problem with the improper now, 33/7 times 2/3, and we multiply straight across again. So we get 66 over 21, which can be converted into a mixed number. 21 goes into 66 3 times with a remainder of 3 over 21 again, okay? So 3 and 3/21 is our mixed number to 66 over 21. So that's all multiplying fractions. Now, you're going to do this independent practice on a separate sheet of paper. So you're going to write down these 3 problems on a separate sheet of paper, complete them, and then you're going to complete the division. Now, you can write those down and then move on to the division and listen to the division, or you can just listen to the division next and then come back to this in the video and write it all out. But you need to hand these 3 problems in. So now on to the division. Dividing fractions. 1/3 divided by 4. Now whenever we divide, we create common denominators, just like adding and subtracting. So 1/3 divided by 4 is going to be rewritten. Okay, first we put 4 over 1, so that way we make it improper, and now we make a common denominator, which thirds would be our common denominator, so we have to multiply this by 3 over 3. And so we get 1/3 now, rewrite our problem, divided by 12/3, which now we divide straight across. And so 3 divided by 3 on the bottom makes 1. So we're going to be dividing by 1, so we don't have to worry about that later on. And 1 divided by 12. Don't change the order. 1 divided by 12. Okay? Now, if we're dividing by 1 on the bottom, it's not going to change our answer, so we don't have to worry about that. So now 1 divided by 12 on the top can be rewritten as a fraction, because all fractions are division problems. So 1 divided by 12, and there's our answer. 1/12 is the answer. So 1/3 divided by 4 is 1/12. Same thing with whole by a fraction. So we need to create our improper fraction in order to divide, and then we create a common denominator, which is going to be 5, because my denominator over here is 1, so I'm going to multiply this by 5 over 5 to get to fifths. So now I'm going to have 35 fifths. I'm rewriting it in the exact same order. 35 fifths is the same thing as 7 wholes. Okay? 35 fifths is the same thing as 7 wholes. So 35 over 5 divided by 2 fifths. Now we have common denominators. Now I can divide straight across. Okay? So now my 5 divided by 5 makes 1. And my 35 divided by 2, I'm going to write over here, 35 divided by 2. Now, I'm dividing by 1 on the bottom here, so I don't have to worry about that because it's not going to change my answer. So I just rewrite my numerator division up here, 35 divided by 2, as a fraction. So 35 over 2. Now that is an improper fraction, so I could rewrite that as a mixed number, and 2 goes into 35 17 times with a remainder of 1 over our original denominator 2. So 17 and a half is 35 over 2. Okay, so that's how we divide. Now, on the next slide, you're going to do 2 problems independently. So you're going to be doing 2 sheets. One sheet is for multiplying fractions, and the other sheet is going to be dividing fractions and wholes. So here you have 2 problems to do. Do these 2 problems as well as the 3 multiplying problems, and then bring them into class and hand them in. Best of luck. Happy dividing and multiplying.